Okay, so this is the final batch of starters. There's 9 starters in total, but we're starting with Sinan, the other female starter. Her first skill is Pickpocket, which what it does is it completely removes an item from one enemy. And what that means is, see these little things down here, right here? Sinan can permanently take one away from an enemy with Pickpocket. Again, the energy is any energy you want to use, meaning you can use this on the very first turn. The downside to this skill is that it has a very high cooldown, mainly because it has a very good effect of a skill. But that's pretty much her first skill, and that's all it really does. Her next skill is Dashing Throw. What it does is Sinan deals 20 range damage to one enemy, and melee damage dealt to Sinan is reduced by 10 for one turn. So first of all, it just deals 20 damage, and then any melee damage done to Sinan for that turn is reduced by 10. That's pretty much, her second skill. The energy up here is a specific energy. You need that type of energy in your move pool to use this skill. The cooldown is none, meaning she can use it as many times as she wants. And then the next skill is Hallucinogens. What it does is Sinan affects one enemy with a key affliction, stunning the target's tactic skills for 2 turns. During this time, healing on the target is disabled. So basically, this is the kind of stun that is not a full character stun, but it stuns tactic skills. You can find whether something is tactic, melee, ranged, or mental down here in the class list. As you can see, this is a mental skill. But if it stuns tactic skills only, it is not a full character stun. And again, during this time, healing is disabled, so characters like Jinsei cannot heal the character that is being affected by the skill. And again, up here it costs 1 specific energy. You have to have that energy in your move pool, or energy pool, sorry. And then of course you just have your basic invulnerability skill. The next character is Saiga. So his first skill is Encroaching Doom. It says Saiga deals 20 range damage and grants 1 gas leak charge to one enemy. This skill stacks. So what that is just 20 range damage, and it gives him a gas leak charge. That's explained later on in his other skills. And what it means by this skill stacks, it means the charges can stack with each other. Meaning if you use this on the same enemy twice, that'd be 2 gas leak charges. Saiga's next skill is known as Gas Leak. What it does is Saiga grants all enemies 1 gas leak charge. This skill stacks. So what that is again, it's kind of like Encroaching Doom, but it doesn't deal damage, and it just grants one enemy, or all enemies, a gas leak charge. Again, what it means by stacking is that you can use this as many times as you want, and it'll just keep stacking on the enemies until you use Ignition. Ignition, Saiga affects all characters with a burning affliction, dealing 10 affliction damage each turn for 2 turns. So that on its own, it means Saiga hits every single character, including his teammates and himself, dealing 10 affliction damage each turn for 2 turns. Now again, this is a burning affliction. And again, affliction is kind of just like poison-like damage. But yes, he does affect everyone in the game that's currently alive, including himself. So you have to be careful when you're using that skill. Now if we keep reading, it says each gas leak charge on an enemy target increases damage dealt by the skill by 10 to that target. It also removes all gas leak charges. So what that is if you have 1 gas leak stack on all enemies, instead of dealing 10 damage for 2 turns, it's now going to deal 20 damage to 2 turns, only on those enemies. If you have 2 gas leak charges, that's 30 damage for 2 turns to your enemies. Again, the gas leak charges are removed, and gas leak charges cannot be put on your allies, so the damage dealt to yourself is always going to stay at 10. And then with Saiga's last skill, it's just your basic invulnerability skill. Moving on, we have the final starter, Arasoi. His first skill is Smokescreen. Arasoi affects all enemies with Smokescreen, allowing choking haze on the targets the following 3 turns. So what that is he affects all enemies with this skill, and it allows one of his other skills to be used for the following 3 turns. Now it says, during this time the targets are invulnerable to teammate skills, and Master Thief steals an additional random energy from the target. So what it's saying is, if you have Smokescreen up, your opponent cannot use skills that would target their allies. And it's saying that Master Thief steals an additional random energy from the target. We'll get back to that later. The cost is, again, a specific energy. Now, Choking Haze, Arasoi deals 20 affliction damage to one enemy affected by Smokescreen, allowing this skill on the target the following turn. During this time, melee and range damage dealt by the target is reduced by 5. So what it does is, again, it deals 20 affliction damage to one enemy, and then if the enemy tries to use a skill next turn that is melee or ranged, damage by that skill would be reduced by 5. And remember, this skill requires Smokescreen to be active on the enemies. Now Arasoi's last skill is Master Thief. It says Arasoi steals 1 random energy from all enemies. So what that is, it's literally you're taking energy from the enemy's move pool, as in you take it for yourself. The skill costs 4 random energies, meaning you can use any 4 energies to use this skill. And again, if Smokescreen is currently active on the enemies, it steals an additional random energy from all enemies. So in total, it is possible to steal up to 6 energies from your opponent's energy pool. And then, of course, you have your standard invulnerability move. Now, there were a couple things I forgot to mention in my other videos, so I'll just go ahead and mention them now. Each character in this game has a specific amount of energy over here. With females, it's usually anywhere from 70 to 90, and with males, it's usually anywhere from 90 to 120. So what we have here is just 90 HP, 100 HP, 120 HP, and again, it differs with every character in the game. And the last thing I forgot to mention was the class list. I already explained Instant, Aura, and Channeling, but I forgot to mention the one before that. There's 4 other kinds of classes. It's Tactic, Ranged, Melee, and Mental. Now, it's easy because it's just located down at the class list, right here. See? And that's pretty much all of the starter characters and how all their skills pretty much really work. When you break it down, it's a lot easier to just actually see what they do in battle, but it also really helps to just actually read the skills in general. But that's pretty much it. I'm going to make one more video that kind of shows the interface of War of Ninja during a battle, but that's pretty much it for explaining starter characters and how their skills pretty much work. So I'm just going to go ahead and stop this and record the interface in a second.